Hello everyone, and welcome to our International Women's Day live broadcast from Leeds Trinity University in the north of England. I'm Sindus, and I'll be your presenter today, bringing you some powerful stories celebrating women's achievements. Yorkshire has long been home to a diverse array of women who shaped history, from the Bronte sisters, whose groundbreaking novels revolutionised literature, to famous suffragette Mary Wollstonecraft, whose work laid the foundation for the women's rights movement. We've also celebrated figures like Baroness Saida Warsi, the first Muslim woman to serve in a UK cabinet, and contemporary voices like artist and activist Khadija Ibrahim, whose work challenges societal norms and amplifies marginalised voices. This region has seen women from all walks of life breaking barriers and creating lasting change. As mentioned before, this year's International Women's Day theme is Accelerate Action. It's a call to drive for meaningful change for women, whether in business, the arts, or in activism. So let's get started with our first story. Our reporter Thea Robinson has a piece about a photographer showcasing powerful portraits of the African and Caribbean communities in Wales. The exhibition will be in Bradford as part of the UK's City of Culture celebrations. Thea, can you tell us more, please?
Hi, sorry for any technical difficulties. Yes, so I got to attend a photo gallery presentation in Bradford City as a part of the 2025 Bradford City of Culture celebrations. Now, I got to meet a wonderful up-and-coming photographer named Grace Springer, whose work is specifically about representing her small African and Caribbean diaspora community within Cardiff, Wales. Now, when I first met Grace, we were both excited to be able to share the fact that we have Caribbean heritage. And she also shared with me that her work was really integral to her discovering that part of herself and being able to give platform to a wonderful community that she has been a part of. Now, she gets to take that little community on tour across the UK with an exhibition showing in other cities as well. Now, she has dedicated herself to representing her community, photographing musicians, artists, community leaders, and even her local sports team. But before I gush any more about Grace, I'll let her tell you all about her work herself. Take it away.
The project is called Pobl Lleol, which means local people in Welsh. I kind of wanted to touch upon the Welsh little bit of identity that I'm moving into. I've been in Wales for 10 years now, so I kind of wanted to show that representation in this project. Been working about 6 years with people down at Cardiff Bay, which was Butte Town, still is Butte Town, but known for Cardiff Bay and the docks. I've been working with the rugby group, which was an international rugby group back in the day. They represented the diversity of people when they came over in the Windrush and thereafter. It's really important that I capture that in my photography because that's where my identity lies, in that sort of Caribbean African diaspora. And it wasn't intentional. I'm going through this phase at the moment where I'm exploring my own heritage and identity. So I kind of feel like maybe it was just something that just happened organically. I didn't force it. It's just people that I'm connected to within the community in Cardiff. I would say, I feel really proud to be able to have a platform or create a platform for little bits of communities that is happening in Cardiff on a national scale. Really looking forward to, there's probably a couple of different aspects, but I'm looking forward to most is going to each of the cities and being able to see what each city are doing in terms of photography and see what we could take from each city and also how we can collaborate further with these other photographers, because absolutely amazing photographers, and I'm so grateful to be able to be in contact with them and just start relationships with them and hopefully collaborate in the future, but also learn a lot. That's the most important thing, is knowledge is power. I think my message for young female photographers would be just to pick up a camera. If you've got a story inside of you or a little fire inside of you, just document, just see what happens, just be surrounded by other like-minded people, encourage people, also encourage yourself to be able to strive to get to a point. Like, it took me a while to get to where I am now, but I just kept on going and going. So yeah, persistence is key. It is a lot of hard work, but yeah, pick up a camera and see what happens and connect with your local community.
Hi there, sorry, it looks like we were having some technical difficulties, but that sounds like such an incredible project by Grace, who was using her photography to celebrate and document underrepresented communities. So thank you very much, Thea, for bringing us that piece. And I have a question for you, Thea. You've seen Grace Springer's work up close. Can I ask what stood out most to you about her portraits?
Well, I think Grace's portraits are so beautiful because they capture such a variety of faces and people, but she has one portrait of a guy who's a musician within Cardiff, a very small local musician, but he also works at a local restaurant. And it's just so beautiful the way that she can capture moments of just elation and joy within the community while also being able to give platform to them. Others would probably be her past pieces that have also featured shots from the local carnival celebrations and stuff like that. So if you're ever interested, go ahead and follow her on Instagram at Grace Springer Photos _ and give her a like and a follow. She would really, really appreciate it.
That's really exciting. Thank you, Thea. And it looks like she's encouraging other women to pick up their cameras. So are you inspired to pick up your camera as well?
Oh, I'm picking up my camera today. Just being able to do my job as a journalist and being able to represent stories like Grace's gives me so much joy, and it's such a privilege. So thank you again to Grace for taking out the time to do the interview, and thank you, Cindis, for being such a great presenter.
Thank you very much, Thea. That's great. So next we're going to be going live to Raj, who is at a live women's networking event called She Can Shine, and it's a fantastic initiative supporting female entrepreneurs and women's health. Over to you, Raj.
Hi there, thanks Cindis. So yeah, as you can see, I'm here live at an event at Shine. The event is called She Can Shine. It's committed to supporting Leeds-based entrepreneurs and businesswomen. It's a kind of free club where women can meet monthly to help get their businesses going, teach money mindsets, workshops, marketing, support with many of the skills. It's funded by the UK government through UK Shared Prosperity Fund and delivered in partnership with our West Yorkshire here Combined Authority. So this scheme provides a lot of mentoring. It's a place where women in business who are trying to thrive in business can come and use workspaces and desks. You can even get some professional headshots done here. You can register your business here if you don't have like a registered business address. They've been going here since 2000, and since then they've inspired 260 women and 31 new businesses. The founder, Dawn O'Keefe, is speaking. She's been speaking right now, and we've actually got one of the guest speakers up now speaking with us. I've actually got one of the guest speakers with me here, Lisa Shepherd, who's already given her presentation, just to answer a few questions about her experience of this initiative and International Women's Day. So please welcome Lisa Shepherd.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me.
Hi.
Hi. So what does International Women's Day mean for you?
I think it's a really good initiative to remind people that equality is still a pipe dream. Whilst things are better than it used to be, we're still nowhere near real equality. I think I read somewhere that we're still about 120 years away from real equality in the workplace and beyond. So I think it's one day to bring that to the fore. I personally think one day is not enough. But it's a start. It's as a female business owner, it's definitely a day we need to shout about.
Thank you. And how has She Can Shine helped you in your business?
So when we started out, I wish we'd known about it. We didn't know about it, but I know how much they do for startups. So we're now at a stage where they help us in other ways. So the She Can Shine program is amazing for startups. For us, what they do is they give us airtime. So today I had a half an hour speaking slot to talk about my business, to inspire that next generation of female entrepreneurs and to share my story. They also have order biscuits from us. So I'm a big fan of Cindy Gallup's quote, which is "Don't empower me, pay me." And Dawn and her team definitely do that. So they don't only give us exposure and support, they also support our business by way of ordering from us.
That's really amazing. Thank you so much for taking some time out of the event to speak with us. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the event. And yeah, that's really it for me here at the live event. So if anyone's got any questions, it's back to you, Sundis.
That's where it started in Leeds. So then we had the amount of years had a child who's Johnson's best friend now.
There's a lot going on there. I just wanted to ask,
it started dabbling in
there are a lot of challenges for women.
So he said,
at the end of the day,
so I kept my job, which was
kind of combat
and so I went part-time and we set up
Yes. Yeah, we hear a lot about being yourself, being your authentic self, and being able to say no, especially as a woman. There can be other demands and other expectations put on you. So it's knowing when to say yes, knowing when to say no, and really just believing in yourself, and knowing, not letting anything hold you back, and breaking down those barriers. That business is for women as well, and women can accelerate in business too.
That's really amazing, right? It's great to see spaces like this and try and uplift women and support them. The next story is helping boardroom ready women business results. And one of our reporters has been speaking to this entrepreneur. Megan, can you please tell us more?
Hi there, so I'm Megan, and this week I got to have a really lovely chat with a woman called Sue Jefferson. With about 40 years in the corporate world, doing strategy, initiating change, and primarily focusing on change management, she's now working to help other people, especially women, leverage their dreams they want to see personally and professionally. She's described as ambitious, the transformation queen, and a hammer in a velvet glove. We had a great conversation about all the things that she's been working on, particularly how she believes business language should change, especially surrounding women and what women actually bring to the workplace. So here is a clip that I made earlier in the week from our conversation.
That is, think about so much as something that is deliberately brought there and stands out in the workplace. But what I think a lot of women have naturally as a talent and skill, but it's not exclusive to women, is what can sometimes be called soft skills. Now, I absolutely hate that phrase. And if nothing else on International Women's Day, I'd love it to be banned, because what I think it is, and the phrase I use, is productivity skills. And what that is kind of a curiosity about other people and a willingness to have conversations to better understand and unlock the actions that you want. So the steps I would talk about and what I think, say, productivity skills bring, and we want to see more of them, is listening generously and seeking to understand people, acknowledging what concerns or issues people have, and behind a rational answer may well be an emotional one, and then seeking to find win-win solutions with that. And then when you have all those in place, you can ask people, encourage people to kind of look to move forward, take action at pace. And together you can achieve some really bold, ambitious objectives, because you've then got shared ownership and a teamwork ethos. So I think less what we might call femininity, more productivity skills, which is that curiosity about people and wanting to find win-win solutions and win hearts and minds.
Hi Megan, thank you so much for that report. It's really empowering to hear about women taking charge in the business world. And from your chat with Sue, can I ask, do you think Yorkshire's becoming a place for women in business? Is it better, or are there still barriers to overcome?
I think there's always going to be quite a few barriers, but I think we're very fortunate that we live in a society where we have, compared to a lot of other countries, a significant amount of more of opportunity. I think with people like Sue, who are working so hard, and days like International Women's Day, And we're definitely seeing women sort of really feel empowered in business. But there's a long way to go, because it's not just feeling empowered in business, it's feeling empowered at home. And I think as a society, we have like a lot of issues with that. And something Sue really did talk about was the fact that she's not just a businesswoman, she is a mother. She looks after her home. She is also a hobbyist, and she has so many things going for her. And I think she really pointed out that a lot of the time women get pigeonholed into one thing, and if you're a boss and you're at work, then that is what you do. There is sort of no other sort of acknowledgement of the dichotomy of womanhood. But I think we're seeing exciting things. I think we're all doing very exciting things today. So hopefully, I think there's a big market for women in business.
I definitely agree, and I have to say I really love the title of her book. We've got a very sparkly theme today, which is great. But thank you very much, Megan. It's great to see how women are, taking charge in businesses and industries where they're traditionally underrepresented. So thank you. And now let's turn to a crucial topic: support for victims of domestic abuse. Adonis is live with Leeds Women's Aid, a charity providing vital services in the Leeds area. Over to you, Adonis.
Hi, Sundus. Hi, everybody. Look, it's really a privilege to take part in International Women's Day, and thank you for the organisers for putting it on. A bit of a trigger warning for this section, because we'll be talking about domestic abuse and the services that are on offer here in Leeds. And in a moment, we'll be joined, hopefully, by Hannah White, Comms Manager for Leeds Women's Aid. Leeds Women's Aid is a... Hannah, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Lovely to see you again. How are you? Everything's good?
Yes, great, thank you. Yeah, what about you?
Yes, I'm fantastic, thank you. Righto, so International Women's Day, the theme of this year's International Women's Day is accelerating action. Obviously, you're the comms manager for Leeds Women's Aid. You guys do provide a range of services to victims of domestic abuse in the Leeds area. You've got the 24/7 helpline, the online chat, you've got an emergency refuge centre, which we'll talk about in a minute. Just wondering, what services you offer, what these entail, and how you're helping victims of domestic abuse in the Leeds area.
Yeah, absolutely. So since the organisation started in 1972, we've been accelerating action pretty much every day. That's kind of our primary focus, is to kind of help women and girls to rebuild their lives following domestic abuse, and help them to really live free from fear and abuse. So as you said, we've got a variety of services from our helpline, online chat, emergency refuge, discreet drop-in services as well across the city, working with universities and different groups to kind of increase access to people who might not know about us. Yeah, so various things that we do, kind of that's just our base level services that we offer kind of day in, day out. And then we also have various projects working in partnerships. So for example, we run a safety bus in Leeds City Centre on nights out, so people can access, help getting a taxi home, making a report to the police. There's paramedics there too. So that's a really valuable service that we lead on.
That's a stationary bus, right? It's not...
Yes, so it's a static bus, so it's kind of like a bus, and it's just outside the Corn Exchange on Saturday nights, and it's so valuable, and we've had just amazing feedback from people who have accessed it. And we've stopped hospital admissions, we've stopped potentially sexual assaults. So yeah, that's a fantastic service that we offer.
Amazing.
Yeah, also we do the Voices project, so that's run through our partner Leeds Domestic Violence Service, and that basically is a group for people who are, they've come out of the abusive relationship, they're on the other side, and then they really want to drive change for future victims. So it fits really nicely into this year's theme of Accelerate Action. So they use their insights and shared experiences to kind of, to create change with key decision makers in the city. So for example, they're working really closely with West Yorkshire Police to kind of change attitudes and perceptions and how domestic abuse cases have been handled, and also working to promote Clare's Law, which is a disclosure scheme, so people can find out if they think the partner might have had an abusive past, so that's really important. So that's kind of a key focus for us at the minute. So that's kind of what we do kind of day to day to accelerate action. We've also got various campaigns coming up this year. So I know you mentioned the refuge accommodation. So we've got a really exciting project there which will work to accelerate action for younger people and really break that cycle of abuse. So we're creating a brand new hub for kids just to be kids and learn and play and socialise and access support as well. So that's kind of up and coming for this year.
So this is the refuge centre for kids. So this is the type of scenarios where women are in a really difficult situation where they're in a family setting, they're in danger, they have to get out, but they've got children, and so the refuge centre helps with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, often women just come to us with the clothes on their back and their children, and most women, pretty much all of them come with at least one child. So you can imagine it's, not just for women, it's children as well. So we have to provide dedicated support for those children. And they can't live like other kids. They can't have their friends around after school. It's not safe for them to tell people where they live. So we need to really tailor that, our approach to that. And at the minute, there isn't really kind of sufficient space for them to play and be kids. We've just got this room that we call the garage, and it's not got any windows or heating, so it's not ideal, to be honest. So we've now secured funding after kind of a massive fundraising drive, and we're going to build a brand new hub, and that will have like accessible entry, like a sensory area for younger kids to play, and we've got top spec like games consoles, like a Mac for people to learn skills on as well. So it's about ending that cycle and giving them opportunity to have a brighter future.
That's amazing. I know that it was a bit of work to secure the funding for that, so congratulations. And
thank you. Yes,
I was really happy to hear that you got all the funds for that, and that the shovels will be in the ground soon. So if there are people in the Leeds area who feel like they need some support, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, so our helpline, so as you said, it's 24 hours. So the number is 0113 246 0401, and that's open 24/7. Our online chat service runs weekday afternoons on the website. As we know, it's difficult for people to make a call. They might live with their abuser sometimes, so we can offer that service, or they can get in touch via email. We are here to help. If you visit our social media pages, you'll be able to see when the drop-ins are across the city, and keep an eye out of see what we're up to. But we do have like a good presence around the city. We've got loads of supporters running events for us this week, which have been blown away by the support, to be honest. At M&S Pudsey today, there's a bike-a-thon, so the team are trying to cycle 200 miles to again encourage donations and just raise awareness of our support. So yeah, you'll hopefully see us out and about.
Fantastic. So we'll just try and get Sundus back up and see if she has a question for you. But in the meantime, I did want to say, because there are people watching all around the world, so if you do feel like you're in a vulnerable position, please try and find an organisation local to you that does the kind of amazing work that Hannah's Leeds Women's Aid do. Sundus.
Hi, thank you very much, Adonis, for that fantastic report, and thank you, Hannah, as well, for answering our questions. Obviously, it's heartbreaking to know that services like Leeds Women's Aid exist, but it's also reassuring to know that they're there to protect women in vulnerable situations. And the question I had links to this year's theme of accelerating. Obviously, it's not just about celebrating women, but also supporting women. So what do you think are some steps that people can take to help support women in vulnerable situations? And what kind of things do you think should be done maybe locally or internationally to better support women in domestic abuse situations?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the best thing I'd advise people to do is listen. Listen if someone's disclosing something to you. Let them know that you're there for them. I wouldn't advise people to take it into their hands and give them advice, because we'd like the advice to come from professionals like ourselves, so it's consistent. I mean, the worst thing you can tell someone to do potentially is to just leave. you know, that point is really dangerous for people, and it can often take 5 times for someone to actually get out of that situation. So signposted services like ourselves, be there for them. I mean, sometimes people get frustrated if their loved one isn't leaving a situation, but it's really, really not that simple. And if you end up getting annoyed with them, then they might not tell you anything in the future, and they might hide it. So yeah, being kind of open and receptive to what they're saying is crucial. I think there's a long way to go in terms of what can be done internationally and even nationally. Obviously, the government's pledged to prioritise violence against women and girls, so we're yet to kind of see how that's going to be rolled out, but we're keeping a close eye on that. Obviously funding is key, really. Obviously we have to do a lot of our fundraising ourselves, and like you said, in an ideal world we wouldn't even need to exist a service like ourselves, but unfortunately we do. So yeah, any kind of fundraising people can do to help us with that is always amazing. And just like helping to amplify our message, you know, letting people know that we're here is the best ways people can help us continue our work.
Thank you, Adonis, and thank you, Hannah, for the very robust overview of domestic abuse and women in vulnerable situations in Yorkshire. And it looks like the work that you do at Leeds Women's Aid is absolutely essential, so thank you very much. And yes, now we will wrap up our Yorkshire stories, but before we do that, we have Anna, who is live from the quaint village of Hebden Bridge in Yorkshire, who will introduce us to a butcher shop run solely by women. Let's hear more from Anna.
Thank you, Cindis. I have to say it has been an incredible show so far, and so inspiring to see so many people coming together today to celebrate women. Now, as International Women's Day highlights women breaking down barriers in male-dominated industries, I had the privilege of speaking with Hannah Murray, who is doing exactly that. After taking over the popular butcher shop in Hebden Bridge last year, she stepped into an industry that's always traditionally been dominated by men. Not only is she paving the way for women in butchery, but she's also found her calling in a job that she truly loves. Today, the shop is run by 2 women, which is something that Hannah finds not only empowering, but is also a celebration of how far they have come. I went to speak to Hannah last week to find out a bit more about what she does in her job, and here is her interview.
So it is a very male-dominated industry. I think more people are open to women doing most jobs that men can do now. I have been faced with a few people being quite surprised. So my husband's not a butcher at all, but he does work with me on a Saturday sometimes, and I get a lot of people who go and speak to him rather than me, and he says, she's the butcher, and people are often quite taken aback by that. But a lot of people have also said it's great to see a shop full of women, and how supportive of us they are. I did have one guy in particular who said to my husband, "Oh, you should be cutting that up," and he said, "Well, I don't know how to do that." And the guy said, "Oh, you wouldn't have got that in my day," and I was just like but often not faced with anything at all, but people are more supportive than anything. One of the biggest challenges is actually the strength that you have to have, so being able to carry bits of carcass, beef carcass particularly. Abigail and I quite often work together to carry them, because they'll easily be 50-60 kilos of meat sometimes, and when you're nearly carrying not quite your own body weight but almost, it's quite a challenge, and not falling over with it getting stuck. My mum has been a farmer since she was 18. Her mum and dad both died by the time she was 21, and so she has farmed our farm with her brother, who is younger, and her sister. She's moved away now, but they've farmed together for the last 50 years, and then she married my dad, who was a townie, and he came and joined the farm. But my mum's been like the driver of our farm that whole time, and I honestly don't know how she's done it, from being so young and not having much money, but actually like keeping hold of the farm and driving what's a really lovely business, and producing meat that we're really proud of. I think she's someone that inspires me all the time. She's a pretty hellish woman, really.
And it is proving that butchery isn't just a man's trade, but it's a craft where hard work and skill matters most. I thought her passion, dedication and success for her work is truly inspiring, and on International Women's Day she is a shining example of how women continue to break down barriers and thrive in traditionally male-dominated industries. That's all from me here in Hebden Bridge. Back to you, Cindis.
Thank you very much, Anna, for that interesting report. And I know you mentioned off air that you regularly visit this butcher shop. Can I ask what makes it stand out to you compared to other butcher shops that you might have been to?
I think for me, for my family, my granddad, he used to own and run a butcher's shop, and so it's got a very personal, special link to myself and my family. And knowing how hard my granddad worked for that shop, he put his heart and soul into that shop. And to see now where we live in Hebden Bridge, there's this amazing butcher shop which is thriving and is so popular, and to see Hannah doing so well in this business, and how all of the meats is locally sourced, it's all really high quality, and all, I think the community in Hebden Bridge just loves to support her and her locally sourced meat.
I completely agree, Anna. That's really inspiring. And of course, that's another unexpected industry where you really don't think that women would work in, but they actually do. And they're thriving in it, as you said. So thank you very much for that, Anna. And that's a really great way to round off our coverage from Yorkshire. And this brings us to the end of our International Women's Day coverage at Leeds Trinity University. We've heard some really incredible stories of women accelerating change in business, the arts, and activism, proving that progress is being made, but there still is work to be done. We've got some really cool stuff going on in Yorkshire this week. Earlier this week, on Wednesday, there was a Channel 4 live event equipping women journalists with digital safety skills. There's also going to be a charity run, a lunch at a Cuban restaurant, a candlelit yoga and dance workshop, and of course the charity bike ride that Hannah mentioned earlier, to name a few. So it looks like there are a lot of interesting things to do if you're around this weekend. So next, we're passing over to Newcastle University, where they'll share more stories of inspiring women from their region. Thank you for joining us, and let's continue celebrating and supporting women, not just today, but every day.